Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Really kind of a big week of news this week. It's been Microsoft Inspire and there's been some announcements that kind of have come out around that and some really interesting things that have happened. So let's get into it. So the first really kind of big thing that came out this week is around the Common Data Service, which has been around for kind of quite a long time. It's more of a SharePoint type thing than a Teams development type thing. But that's all about to change because it's now called Microsoft Dataflex. But the really big thing is that it's coming to Microsoft Teams. What this means is that for apps in Teams, they will be able to access Dataflex inside of Teams at no additional cost. And that will give applications a relational database built right into Microsoft Teams. So tables, columns, relationships, the whole shebang. This is a lot more exciting than just having access to something like SharePoint lists, where it's kind of complicated to do anything more than just a trivial retrieval and writing of data. This is a properly built-in data set, a database. So really, really interesting. There's no real detail on the specifics of this yet. That's all coming. The preview is coming mid-August, I believe. So so really interesting, and I'm super interested to see how this shakes up, really how we build apps in Teams at all. We may look back on this and it completely changes how people build applications in Microsoft Teams, because if you can build your applications and make use of a built-in database inside Microsoft Teams, well, suddenly you don't need like Azure storage tables, you don't need a Cosmos DB, you don't need to find yourself another relational database, and I think that's what Microsoft are thinking. It keeps the application building process simpler, and the total cost of ownership for running those applications less. So I'm really excited by this. There's lots and lots of detail we don't have. One question I really want to clear up urgently. So if anyone has found this out, or is anyone able to clarify for me, it'd be amazing. I'm unclear as to whether Dataflex inside Microsoft Teams will only be available to Power Platform apps, so Power Apps and Power Virtual Agents, or whether it will be accessible and be able to be used by all applications, including ones that somebody might I might write as a tab or anything like that. So interested to find out all about Dataflex as and when we get more information. I'll definitely be doing blog posts, code, samples, demos, the whole works as it evolves, because I think it's a really interesting space. All right. Also announced at Inspire this week, a new extensibility area, if you like, for Microsoft Teams. So developers will soon be able to write against an extensibility against the meetings space, the sort of meeting functionality inside Teams. So that's pre-meeting, during meeting, and post-meeting. Developers will be able to insert content. So maybe tabs in the pre-meeting space, maybe calls to action during the meeting, maybe some kind of post-meeting wrap-up, again, cards. In the same way that I think that Stream puts recordings, like an activity, into the chat history after a meeting to tell you that the recording is available. Developers will be able to do something similar like that for kind of post-meeting actions. So that's very exciting. Again, very, very light on detail. We will just have to wait for the details of that to come out, but that was the announcement made anyway at Inspire this week. It's been a busy week for me as well. So during this week, I was very honoured to be able to interview Mary-Jo Foley for the second time. A really fun interview. Mary-Jo is a very interesting and delightful person to interview, actually. She's very nice but also very knowledgeable. So we talked all about Microsoft Inspire. We talked about partners. We kind of dug into how partners are treating Microsoft, how Microsoft are treating partners, how that's changed over the years, what partners should be doing now, what partners should be thinking, where they should be focusing their efforts, how Microsoft have dealt with the coronavirus. Lots and lots of things we covered. It was a really, really good chat. If that sounds interesting, go check out the video. It's on YouTube. You can find it at thoughtstuff.co.uk/videos. It was a really fun interview. So thanks to Mary-Jo for that. And yeah, if that sounds interesting, go check it out. All right, so Matt Landis has a blog post as well this week, which is also this would be this would be kind of top news if there wasn't so many other things happening. And that's, again, announcement in Inspire that he picked up on, that Microsoft has added an additional license called Advanced Communications to their lineup of available Microsoft Teams licenses. And this one is being wrapped around one of the APIs. So there's a specific call recording and policy compliance API. That's not its right term, but it's an API. It covers call recording, like policy recording and compliance scenarios. And it's a separate API. It's not widely used. I think you have to kind of onboard yourself via Microsoft in order to be able to use it, because they're trying to keep it to kind of like a nice white list of compliance partners and recording partners. But also what's interesting this week being announced is that if you write applications that use it, then somebody needs to pay Microsoft an additional charge for accessing that API. So that kind of will be borne by the end user of your application. So an additional cost to using that API. And I'm not sure if this is the first time that like a Microsoft Graph or even a Microsoft API has been charged for use. I suspect it probably isn't. It's the first one I think I'm aware of, certainly in the Teams space, of Microsoft charging an additional amount of money in order to be able to use an API. So it's interesting. So we'll see where that goes. I think if you're the kind of organization, if your workloads are such that you absolutely have to have compliance recording and policy, recordings, if it's kind of integral to what you're doing, then you'll just kind of bear this cost, I think. And in some ways it reflects the additional work and effort Microsoft have to put into what is a fairly small part of the market, I think, as well. So yeah, interesting. And finally, also just to round off the week, something a little bit different, not quite so techie. It's been kind of bubbling for a while. I did this a while ago. It's just taken a while to come out. But the more I looked at it, the more I'm going to try and make it a regular segment. So I talked to Lyndsay. So Lyndsay works at Modality Systems. She is a CSM at Modality, Customer Success Manager, and we just talked. So we talked about working at home. So she has a small child, a little bit younger than mine, and we just kind of talked through what that's like. What it's like working at home, what works, what doesn't. How it's kind of stressful, how it works, with children in the house. We just had a good old natter, and I think it was good. It was certainly very good for me, but I think we recorded it, and I'm glad we did. And so I'm putting it out as a kind of segment because I think it might be interesting and useful to lots of people, because we're all working from home now, right? So there's tips in there on coping strategies, and I think just being open and saying sometimes it's really stressful, sometimes it's really hard, and it isn't always super easy. Like we all pretend and make out that it is to all our other friends, we work at home all the time because we're in IT and it's great and it's easy and it always works. Well, sometimes it doesn't always work. So, sometimes it is stressful, and I think that's okay. All right, that's everything I had this week. It's just been such a busy week. I didn't even get a chance to say, but I did a really good, a really fun kind of Leeds user group Power Platform user group meetup talk in the week as well. So that's on Meetup. The slides of that are available as well. That was really good to do, really good fun. And there's some more things like that coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So all of that being said, have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing, and I will talk to you again next time.